What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Aaron Nix, and I'm back to discuss NXT UK on the Wrestle YouTube channel. Let's see if we can get this bad boy under 10 minutes. NXT UK. I keep banging on how great the brand is. I keep seeing people shitting on the brand because of past allegations and whatnot. And although there are a couple of unsavory characters that may be still involved, that doesn't mean that everyone else, particularly their incredible women's division, should have to suffer for it. So I will continue to cover NXT UK as best as possible. And boy, was I in for a couple of surprises here. The first big one was the debut of Stevie Turner, who took on Aoife Valkyrie. Yeah, I recognise Stevie Turner very well, of course, formerly known as Bobby Tyler, someone who has been incredibly kind to me in the past, actually, full of words of wisdom, a really awesome human being in every sense, and fantastic to see that she is signed for WWE. Not much else to say, really. Great match as well. And I really like the gimmick, too. Really like it. Now, obviously, Aoife Valkyrie gets the win. Kind of understandable coming into this match undefeated. She looks like she could be a genuine heavy hitter in this women's division. It'd be nice to see whether Aoife Valkyrie has different WWE brands in the future, because she looks like the kind of person who could handle themselves in any brand. But having Stevie Turner on this brand is fantastic stuff. You know, a little bit personal for me, obviously, as somebody who I have championed on this podcast for so long and had the opportunity to cover it in the events. And like I say, I really, really enjoy the gimmick. Kind of a cyberpunk feel, which is awesome, because I've been playing cyberpunk to death lately. Good match. Great to see her on the main platform that is WWE, and really excited to see what she does going forward. The match in between is all right. Taeman versus Josh Morrell. I like Josh Morrell. I like what he can do, actually. Or Josh Morrell, excuse me. Very high-flying, very athletic. He does feel a bit stale, all due respect. There's not a great deal of character there. And also, I'm not a fan of people who do stuff for the sake of it. There was a spot in this match where he kind of flipped out of the corner. But very impressive, obviously. No way I could do something like that. Does a kind of corkscrew spin, lands on his feet, hits him with a hip toss. And I just thought, I didn't really see the point of something like that. Just land on your feet and hit the hip toss. Don't really need the massive corkscrew. Yes, it's very impressive, but unless it means something, I'm not really that fussed. That's just me being an old man, though. He's obviously a good worker, but it's Taeman who moves on. Interesting to see what Taeman's going to do. I worry in this current gimmick that he does have a bit of a ceiling. Obviously, he's Lucky Kid from the Indies, and I was a big fan of his, but I would like to see more progression of his character. All of these guys can wrestle so well. That's never going to be an issue. Everybody on this brand can wrestle to a world-class standard. That's never going to be an issue. What is an issue, however, is whether they're going to be able to back it up with character work. And some guys are clearly far ahead than others. Someone like Shah Samuels, for instance, or Trent Seven, guys who are already very proven commodities on a microphone. This is what I need to see more of from Taeman, because actually his promo build, his vignette for his debut was really good, and it showed a bit of a character-based element to him, and yet we haven't really seen that since. And something that I'm really enjoying is the promos, the vignettes that they're doing. The sit-down face-to-face with Volta and Rampage Brown was simplistic and easy. Completely different style to what you would expect from the American brand. Don't get me wrong, Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole are giving me all kinds of feels right now. Insane on the main NXT brand. This was a little bit more understated, as is the case with these guys. These are two very world-class, understated hosses. Volta sitting there almost with an air of arrogance, but also saying that he's the most selfless man because he does this for the sport. And Rampage Brown just looking at him as if to say, I'm not impressed, I'm not intimidated, and I will see you next week at NXT Prelude, which is going to be very interesting. NXT UK Prelude, which is kind of going to be a little kind of taster of what NXT UK can give you right before the big festivities of WrestleMania weekend. The only problem with this match is not the match itself, but it kind of derails the Tommaso Ciampa title match that is taking place at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver on night one, which is on a Wednesday, I believe, which means that this is happening the next day. So you already know, I assume, that Volta's going to beat Tommaso Ciampa. I kind of thought that he would anyway, and he's probably going to be the guy I would pick in my predictions, but at the same time, I'm sitting there thinking, bit weird, bit awkward. It would have been nice if they'd said, if you get past Tommaso Ciampa, you will defend this belt. You know, just something a little bit more. But obviously, it's pre-tape. Maybe they didn't know about this match until very late on because of travel restrictions. But I don't know. just leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. But nonetheless, I think this is going to be a world-class match. We even had a little bit of time for the women's division to hot up as well. Kaylee Ray comes out and essentially says, I'm the bollocks, mate. I am, frankly, better than everybody else. This then brings out the somewhat debut of Amelia McKenzie, formerly known as Minnie McKenzie, who obviously we're all excited about, another person who I have so much love and vested interest in from all the amazing matches I've seen from her. She basically says, yeah, I'm here to challenge you for that title. And then she gets Pearl Harbored, of all things, by Isla Dawn. And then to make the save, here comes the legendary Meiko Satomura. And that sets up a monstrous tag match. This is going to be something special. Meiko Satomura and Amelia McKenzie versus Isla Dawn and the NXT UK Women's Champion, Kaylee Ray. You can't miss that. I'm sorry. And like I said at the top of this podcast, you can shit on this brand if you want because of a couple of unsavory characters and the Brit Rest scene and everything that goes with speaking out. But at the same time, you cannot discredit the world-class quality of this women's division. And frankly, I feel like it is a completely moot point if you support speaking out, but you don't support these incredible women who are doing amazing things and frankly deserve your love and respect, especially someone like Amelia McKenzie, who showed so much bravery speaking out. That leaves us with our main event. Pretty Deadly defending the titles against Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams. Sorry to put a downer on it. The match was great, obviously, but you knew that Pretty Deadly weren't going to lose. This is their first title defense. The only thing I could see was probably a malfunction at the junction, and that's exactly what happened. You knew that Kenny Williams at some point was going to try and cheat. Amir Jordan kind of catches him out. He's like, what are you doing, mate? We don't need to do that. Don't hit him with the belt. Don't use the belt, you know? So he puts the belt down. Kenny Williams thinks, fuck it, I'll do it myself, or at least you thought he was. And he just blasts poor old Amir Jordan in the back. And that, of course, cost them their tag team title shot. And that, of course, will no doubt lead to a collision between Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams. I think it's the right decision, obviously. I don't want Pretty Deadly losing the belts this early. I really like Pretty Deadly, by the way. They got such a great cadence. They look smug, they look arrogant, they're perfect. Absolutely perfect British heels. You honestly couldn't ask for anything else. And the fact that they've risen to the top of the game so quickly, just that's proof in the pudding. That really is. They're not just getting pushed because of how they look, they're getting pushed because they're genuinely that fucking good. So, yeah. Kudos to them for retaining the titles. Do I care about Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams' long-term rivalry? No. But then again, you could have told me Ilya Dragunov and Sam Gradwell were going to wrestle each other 6 months ago, and I probably wouldn't have cared about that either. And that turns out that's genuinely one of the best rivalries I've seen in wrestling in the last couple of years. So can't really complain. 2021 shaping up to have some world-class rivalries. Little bit of a quiet NXT UK in terms of the quality, I thought. It was still great, but I didn't feel like it was as good as some of the other ones, and that's always going to be the case. You're not always going to have a world-class effort every single time, but it's still a great show, and it was an hour long, which means that it's worthy of your time. Thank you very much for checking in with us at the Wrestle Plug. Ultimately, next week is going to be one hectic as hell week. We've got Stand and Deliver. We've got all our usual YouTube weekly coverage. We've also got WrestleMania coverage as well. A lot of that is going to be available on the audio podcast as well, so don't fret if you haven't got the time to sit down and watch us on YouTube. If you're on the go, put your headphones in and subscribe to Wrestle Plug wherever you get your podcast. And you can listen to all of our hysterical and honest and candid content as per usual. I've been Aaron X, and I'll catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.